The game is over. Colorado lost. That doesn't shock me. But what shocks me is some of them looked a little bit better. I don't know if it's because West Virginia isn't very good. I don't know if it's because they're getting better. I don't know if they had a talk this week, but they lost. So that's the thing. But Juju Lewis, I thought, looked really good. I thought Juju Lewis from quarter 1 to Juju Lewis quarter 4, I could see him getting better. I could see improvement watching Juju Lewis play football. And that's what you want. You want your quarterback to continue to improve. And I saw that. I said the same thing about Arch Manning. At first, when he first plays, you're kind of like, I don't know. I can kind of see it, flashes, whatever. But then over time, you want to slowly start seeing them get better. And I started seeing Juju Lewis get better. So shout out to him for that. That was good to see. The other thing is this defense held West Virginia to under 400 yards. If you saw my preview, you know one of the things that I mentioned was if Colorado could hold them under 400 yards, I would consider that progress. And my friends, that is progress. Colorado held West Virginia to under 400 yards. And I know it sounds crazy, but we have to realize what we're talking about here. Colorado on defense has not been very good all year. And so I am going to celebrate the wins because that is where we're at in the season. This point in the season, we're just looking for them to get better. They're not a good football team. We all know they're not a good football team. So I'm not going to evaluate them on good football team standards. I am going to find little pockets where they can win and hope that those things will carry out as the season comes to an end. So they kept them under 400 yards. Juju Lewis looked great. The defense came out and was ready to go. I mean, 29 points, and special teams gave up 2 of those points. Because what was that block punt? But overall, this game as a whole looked better. That is what I'm looking for. I need to see them gradually getting better each time they come out on the field because we are evaluating talent. And when you're evaluating talent, you have to see what kind of talent you have to then figure out what it's going to look like next year. So Colorado loses the game. I see improvements. They've made some changes. We've got some freshmen in there. Things are kind of looking a little better. Now let me get to some other things that I loved about this game. I love that we only gave up 106 rushing yards. Again, that is better than we have been doing. We have to celebrate these things because it doesn't happen often. The other thing I loved, last week we had 14 penalties. This week we had 6 penalties. And the thing that happens with football teams is we have to make sure that we're comparing the right things. Am I comparing Colorado against Georgia? No. I am not. I'm comparing Colorado to what they have shown me this season, and I'm comparing them to themselves. And so that is what's going on here. So some of you will say, this team is terrible. This team is terrible. I agree with you. This team is terrible. I 100% agree with that. But when they do good things, we have to also pat themselves on the back for the good things because we have seen it be worse. So if the team is getting better in some situations, we have to applaud that. And so that is what I am doing. So speaking of Juju Lewis, I thought he looked good. I loved seeing him out there. He was steady. He was consistent. And he just looked like a quarterback. He looked like he was in charge. He looked like he knew what he was doing. And he looked poised. And he looked confident. And his receivers showed up for him today. Now, not all the time, but most times they did. And so I think as this continued, it goes on, right? And as Juju Lewis, now we're in a bye week, and now he gets to have another week to prepare. And then he gets to come out in 2 weeks. And so that is what you want to see. You kind of want to see this progression over time because that's how you get better is the game reps, the progression. And so I like what they're doing right now. And I thought the defense came out with intensity. The defense came out ready to play. Shout out to the defense for coming out ready to play. They looked better in the first half of this football game than I have seen this defense look really all season. So does that still mean that I don't want the coaching changes to happen? No, it just means that they looked better coming into this game than they have looked in other games. Now let me get into some things that I absolutely despised. Things that frustrate me are the little things. Example of this would be the penalty they got before halftime that allowed West Virginia to kick a field goal going in at halftime. If you don't get that 15-yard penalty and you just get off the field, West Virginia probably doesn't score. But instead, you give up a penalty, West Virginia is able to move the ball down the field, and West Virginia gets a field goal at halftime. Those kind of things frustrate me. The other thing that frustrates me is this team gave up 7 sacks. Now, I know Jordan Seaton didn't play, and I know. I'm aware of that. 7 sacks though, we act like we just played a really, really solid defensive West Virginia team. That is not what we just played. Giving up 7 sacks is inexcusable, and that tells me that the depth of this team is not very good. Another thing that is concerning to me. And so when I say go recruit, go recruit, go recruit, I'm not just talking about starters. I'm talking about the depth as well. Colorado showed you today there is no depth on that offensive line. Giving up 7 sacks against West Virginia, that is not good. The other thing that was funny to me was watching Colorado run out on the field with 4 offensive linemen, and they got lined up and everybody was in their position and everybody was kind of looking and they were like, we don't have a right tackle. We're missing a guy. So we have to call a timeout because of that. Those are kind of things where I'm like, we got to get this together. The other thing I thought was funny was I think we had like a 3rd and 40 or a 4th and 40 or something like that. I would like to know in football, how many times a team actually has a 3rd and 40. That is a ton of yards. Let's think about that in context. A football field is 100 yards. We're saying we got 3rd and 40. Only Colorado, man. Only Colorado. The other thing that was annoying to me was the blocked punt. Annoying. And then the guys fumbling the ball after you have the first down. That is not great. And so I need the players on Colorado's team to step up for Juju Lewis. I said the same thing in my preview. I need the players to step up. I need them to elevate their play. They now have a quarterback that can throw them the football. So I need them to elevate their play with him because I thought he looked good today. Was he perfect? No, he's not going to be perfect. But for a true freshman to come into this game with that offensive line, I thought he looked good today, but this team has to step up and the team has to help him a little bit. And I didn't think they did a great job helping him today. So I'm looking forward to seeing them the next few weeks to see how good of a job the team does with stepping up and helping the talent around Juju Lewis. The good news is they're going to continue to evaluate talent. The good news is the season is over as far as like making a bowl game and Big 12 playoffs and all those things. But the season is not over because there's still a lot of football to be played. Colorado still has 3 football games. And in those 3 football games, they need to figure out who they have on their team. I want to see, does Juju Lewis improve? I want to see if Jordan Seaton can't play, who are the other guys? Because that is how you make your football team, is you're able to evaluate talent, you're able to give them live reps, and then you're able to see what you have. And now Colorado gets to evaluate. And that is what this is all about. Evaluate talent, figure out what you need. The other thing is Colorado is on a bye week. I better see this Colorado coaching staff out recruiting. Go get talent. Don't sit at home. Get out and go recruit. Go find players. The lack of recruiting coming up this week for Colorado is going to impact their 2026 season. If they do not go out and get talent during their bye week, it is going to show in the 2026 season. We saw the game today. The game today is telling you who they have on this team. Some of those guys might not be here. Some of them might be here. But from what you saw today, based on your own eye test, think about what you saw today. Think about who wasn't great. Think about who needs to get better. Think about slow linebackers. Think about blown coverages. Think about that offensive line. Think about some things that you saw today that you want Colorado to improve on. Colorado is showing you what is in the cupboard. They have to go get more talent because right now the talent in the cupboard isn't good enough. And so they need to go recruit. And I will never stop saying this until they go recruit. The job now is for the coaches to do what the coaches are supposed to do. You get hired to be a football coach, not just a coach on the field, not just a coach in practice. You also are getting paid to recruit. Part of being a college football coach is going out and recruiting. This Colorado team needs to recruit. As many people as they can get out to go recruit, they need to go recruit. And they need to go recruit as often and as early as possible, ASAP. There's no reason for them not to go recruit this week and for them not to go get talent. They have to go get talent. They have to get better because I do think you can build around Juju Lewis. I thought he looked good today. I was proud of him. It was good to see it. Now, let me know what you think in the comment section below, and I'll see you in my next video.